Hello, KMMA tribe, friends, family, students, all you shiny, happy people. I am Shion Steven Del Castillo. I am the Chief Master Instructor and founder of Krav Maga Martial Arts. And, for the purpose of this message, I am a teacher and a student like you. And a consummate philosopher who loves to share my morning meditations. And this morning, when I was sharpening the saw, uh, sharpening the sword, we say here, but it's from Dr. Stephen Covey's Habit of Sharpening the Saw. Uh, I learned some really, really great stuff from the late great Zig Ziglar. Uh, Ironically, it was a lesson that I teach all the time, but I caught a twist from him that I wasn't really teaching it 100% right. Anyway, I'll get to that. I'll share it with you in a little bit because I think it's important and an important point. But I want to start first by just congratulating all my students that tested last week. It was amazing testing, and all this week we are just rehearsing for the graduation ceremonies that'll happen this Saturday. I'm really, really looking forward to you celebrating your success and then getting ready to go on to the next training evolution, which is, of course, so relevant to this discussion because I want to share just a couple important black belt leadership principles that have changed my life and the lives of hundreds and hundreds of students. And, um, and then the one enhancement I got from Zig on one particular lesson this morning. So first, the principles, and the first one is the principle of being a lifelong learner. We call it L cubed, and we have taught it here in the academy for so long that we call it one of our black belt leadership principles. But I learned that. I learned that from Brian Tracy many, many years ago, and I am so grateful for that. And I've already alluded to the fact that I learned from Dr. Stephen Covey the Seven Habits of Highly Effective People decades ago as well, and one of those was sharpening the sword, which is in itself being a lifelong learner as well, making ourselves be able to perform to our fullest capacity by making sure that we're doing the personal and professional development to remain sharp. But another habit that Dr. Stephen Covey talks about that's relevant in this discussion is beginning with the end in mind. And so, for example, in my Leadership Development Academy, that also happens to teach the most practical self-defense in the world, every student begins with the vision of what it's going to be like to become a confident and competent black belt leader. By the way, we have a vision of developing 10,000 black belt leaders in the next 10 years. That's exciting, but not really the topic of today's discussion. It's really just that beginning with the end in mind is relevant to the principle of lifelong learning, because in order to grow and become the person that we need to grow and become to accomplish the things that we want to accomplish, to be as successful as we can, to be as fulfilled as we can, to contribute as much and live up to our potential in the best way that we can, it's all about continuous, constant and never-ending improvement. Kanai, another great leadership principle, that one that we got from Tony Robbins. And, you know, also the law of the process. John Maxwell is another one of our black belt leadership principles. The law of the process says that excellence happens daily, but not in a day. So you see how all of these awesome principles come together, both for us to create confident and competent black belt leaders, but also for any of us to become who it is that we want to become. See, listen, in the most natural state, if you're not doing the work, if you're not deliberate about it, then we also know, this isn't a black belt leadership principle, but I think it may be a law of thermodynamics or something like that, all systems of their own, on their own, without this, tend towards entropy, tend towards, uh, you know, you don't get better by accident, said simply. Or as another of my great mentors, Grandmaster Jeff Smith says, you're either green and growing or ripe and rotten. Anyways, the point of the message is that I'm so grateful for lifelong learning. I'm so grateful that I choose every morning to read something or watch something. This morning I was actually watching. So now we'll skip to the end of this thing because I was so grateful to find recently a classic by the late great Zig Ziglar. See You at the Top. Um, Everybody that studies personal professional development has heard of Zig and has heard of his great book and course. See you at the top, but they had opened the vault and they had found 8.5 hours of this course, and I was able to purchase it yesterday, and I started watching it this morning. And just in the first little half-hour segment, I was like, wow. And the cool thing was that one of the lessons that he was given in it was about the common traits and attributes of successful people in everything. And it's a lesson that I give sometimes in the dojo, where I say, okay, listen, your ideal employee, your ideal boss, your ideal friend, your ideal spouse, your ideal child, and the thing is, everybody has these commonalities of traits that uh, that they would want those people to have, which of course means these are the traits. And Zig makes so many important points in the training. He makes the point that none of that stuff is developed because they're all character traits. They're all character traits that are not developed through the public school system. And he makes some great points about the responsibility of us as parents to make sure we're instilling those things in our kids. But the point that he made that was that I learned this morning was on this. So at the end, once we put all these traits, the exercise is we go through and we identify them as attitudes or skills. And it's always the case that most of them are attitudes. And to me, that's powerful, right? Because it's powerful in the way that, one, it shows the importance of positive mental attitude. And I've always taught that it shows that, therefore, we can choose to develop these attitudes. And then Zig made a really, really great point this morning. And the point was, he said, and this I've never done in my lessons. Of course, I will from here forth, because this is the magic of learning. Zig gave me this last little piece of the equation. He said, all of these things are also attitudes, but all of them can be taught and learned. So in reality, they're all also skills. So number one, hey, just supporting the idea that I learned a new important angle on something that I actually teach this morning. Again, I'm grateful that I'm a lifelong learner. Grateful for Zig. Grateful that for technology in this case, because the fact that I can be watching this thing so many years after he made it and still deriving great wisdom from it. Of course, all the most important things, the things that we're talking about, the things that are character development and that are about ethics are, timeless. Skills in the sense of computer skill or this skill or that skill, those change over time. But these things, the things that are actually the most important things, are timeless. But the second thing is that it was so edifying for me, honestly, when he said that, because that's what we do. We are a black belt leadership academy that also happens to teach the most practical self-defense in the world. And I am just honored, inspired, excited to get to help people, families, adults, teens, and children in their lifelong learning, in setting them up. Because as I yesterday, 2 students entered my black belt leadership program, moving from our basic qualification program into my black belt leadership program. And in the discussion, we talked about the fact that once a student becomes a confident, competent black belt leader, they are set up for success in anything. Some will continue on and become masters even. But just getting to that second degree black belt, I know that I have instilled in them the confidence and the competence and the leadership and black belt leadership principles that will set them up for success in whatever else they do. It's like a kickstart. It's like the beginning of being a lifelong learner with all the benefits thereof. And I am grateful to God and everybody else that allows me to do that as my mission. And I hope that this talk has been useful to you this morning. I hope that you have a great day of growth and learning and development. And I look forward to seeing you back here at Krav Maga Martial Arts real soon, or for the first time, if you've never been here yet. I always attach my personal, my author website and my academy website to these things. So you'll be able to find me. You'll be able to find our program, and we'd love to have you. Prepare to live, empowered to lead.